Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction and recovery. Join your hosts,
the Podfather,
Jersey Ed,
as they break the silence and speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey everybody, welcome to friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles. We're podcasting live from Sweet Studio with our producer extraordinaire, Sweets.
and I'm Jersey Ed in the studio today, guys.
Yeah, finally.
After what, 2 weeks, I think it was.
2 weeks.
Years. Feels like we were doing this without you forever.
Well, hey, listen, I love my garage. I love my front porch. My equipment's still on that front porch somewhere down in down the Jersey Shore. I just left it there. So.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, no, not in that neighborhood.
I think Snooki was using it if I'm making mistakes. So.
She's still alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we kept your seat open.
I know. I love this. I
jumped right in.
I know. Like the Podfather didn't move to the center. You guys like memorialized me and all that. That's really good. I mean, I'm kind of proud.
Yeah. Well,
so yeah.
What do you got going on there, Podfather? What are you playing with on the table?
I'm glad you left this here. This little.
He's playing with his stuff.
It's like a knick-knack, right? So for all of our listeners that are listening to that little noise, that's Podfather's knick-knack.
That's right.
It's his fidget spinner.
Fidget spinner, exactly. I think we can market these. I mean, I'm an old man, so they didn't diagnose kids with ADD or ADHD back in the day in the 50s and 60s. But there's no doubt in my mind that I would have been on several medications.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get you a little wing nut.
Oh,
right?
wing nut.
You can just spin it.
Oh my God!
You can just sit there and spin the little wing nut on there.
Right. I try to see how far I can spin it before it has to come out.
So guys, I come back to the studio after 6 months. Mm-hmm. You guys miss me, and this is what we're fucking talking about. Oops, there it is.
Yeah,
There's one.
Right.
Speaking of wing nuts.
Unbelievable. I know.
Here he is.
How you been, Ed?
Pretty good.
Obviously, you can't leave the vernacular and all that filthy talk down in Jersey Shore.
No. Exactly. No, I can't. But real quick, guys, I want to touch on a few things here. Friends in Recovery online meetings, 12 noon and 7 p.m. Eastern. Every day, daily, that Genesis House is putting on. How are those going? They're going really good.
Nice.
Really good. We started a step meeting.
Yep.
We're going to start a celebration meeting every Saturday at the end of the month. We have different various meetings, and all the people who and our next guest actually chairs a meeting. But everybody that's on there and everybody that chairs is they've been doing it for a while. It's just the community stepped up.
Nice.
It's just an amazing show. I say amazing community that we have. I'm very, very proud of everybody on that on those meetings. So don't forget to tune in to that. And email us with any questions or at help@friendsinrecovery.com. And
wait, what is that one again? Help at what?
friendsinrecovery.com.
Are you sure?
I don't know. It's been a while, so
I feel like it's help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com.
Yes.
So edit all that out.
No, we'll leave it in there.
You sure?
Well, yeah, because now they're paying attention.
That's it.
Now they're paying attention.
That's it.
So we'll make sure they get
help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com.
There it is.
And our phone number, you can give us a call, 617-379-1163, and leave us a message. And I'm leaving Meg on there.
Yeah,
because
why wouldn't you?
She is part of the show, and everybody loves when they get the her voicemail.
Of course.
And we miss Meg. We do, and I don't.
We miss Miss Meg.
We miss Miss Meg. Who? But you can tune into her podcast too.
You can.
Dictionary.
That's right. I've listened to it.
Yeah.
Is that one? That one has that one's sponsored by Genesis House.
It is,
too, right?
Yeah. We sponsor that show,
that.
so yeah, and we also sponsor SoberPod.
You do?
Yes, we do sponsor SoberPod, and a couple weeks back, I was on the show. So if you go listen to
SoberPod,
I was on SoberPod. Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
I told you,
Podfather.
He just got a tattoo. It says Carl on his shoulder. Yeah,
I love Carl.
Steve, and there's going to be more tattoos.
Steve, Ellen. Right. Steve is next.
Ellen's going down on the back.
He's getting a back tattoo.
The
whole group.
The California,
big SoberPod.
with a heart next to Carl's name. Oh my God! Never
Carl,
seen
if you're
that.
listening, it's not true.
Yeah.
Zero.
Oh,
zero,
he knows
zero.
it's true. Believe me.
When you get that tattoo, Carl. But no, seriously, turn the dial to the right and give a listen to Sober Pod. They have really good episodes there. So.
Yes, they do.
But so speaking of really good guests, we have Diane. She is going to do our Alumni Giving Back series today.
Nice.
She is a nurse in recovery, and she came to Genesis House a while ago. She'll tell your story, but she is an alumni, and Di has amazing recovery. She's going to tell a little bit about her story, and she's going to let us know. She's actually on our Friends in Recovery shows, our Friends in Recovery meetings too, and she's very, very active with us.
Okay, so out of respect for her, and I know you really have a lot of respect, do not drop the F-bomb.
Oh,
all right.
Wait! I thought that challenge was brought up by Di. Di, is that a challenge?
Put some conscious effort into this.
So I was given a challenge before the show started when we brought on Di that I would not say the F word.
It only took 2
This
minutes.
show.
It only took 2 minutes.
Yeah, but the challenge wasn't presented yet. So now the challenge is presented. So let's give this a shot. Maybe. Hi, Di. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ed.
How you doing today?
Oh, like I said, like I talked to you before, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I'm still a little shy about telling my story.
Mm-hmm.
However, I did go to a meeting before this interview. My home group,
Good.
which is Good Morning Avalon, meets every day at 7:30. And somebody said that his story was his most precious asset, and that by telling his story, he could help another alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that, I was like, wow, I was meant to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, my story is precious. It's
Mm-hmm.
my story, it's my journey, and it's continuing. It's still evolving.
Daily, daily it evolves, absolutely. And Di,
right.
when I say, and when we're on the meetings, and when I love coming to your meeting. I love when you chair the meeting. I try to get there as much as I can. But you really do have good recovery, and I know sometimes in early recovery it's hard to see that and hard to understand. Where am I going? Because the directions are all over the place. Your mind is in 10 different things. And I got some time under my belt, and I still feel the same way. So, but we're human beings. That's the other thing we have to remember of. But you do have a compelling story, and I know your journey started at Genesis House. Is that correct? Your brand new journey, your new life.
Yeah.
And you want to tell us a little bit about maybe how you got there, a little about your story, and
Well, do you want me to tell my story, like my whole story?
Oh, you can break it up a little bit. Well, let's start with what kind of what was your life like? Give us a little bit of how it was, and kind of what you kind of to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let me just start with my nursing career, because so I graduated nursing school in 1983, and I'm from New Jersey, born and raised in Cape May County. However, when I took my nursing boards, I always had this dream of going to Florida and working in Florida, and so that's what I did. I took my boards down in Florida. My very first job was as a trauma nurse in Fort Myers. And I did that for a few years down there, and then moved back to this area. And my whole career basically was emergency nursing or critical care. The bulk of it was emergency nursing. Up until this year. I was a nurser, and I just recently retired.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I think, as being an ER nurse and ICU nurse, we see a lot of stuff, a lot of hard stuff, a lot of kids dying, a lot of trauma. And I believe that all that trauma, had an effect on me and was stored in my body and in my brain. And I think as nurses, we're, especially as an ER nurse, you're supposed to be tough, and you don't let that stuff bother you, and you just carry on. And, whenever there was like some horrible tragedy, I noticed that the police officers and the firefighters, they had like debriefings, but we were just expected to, okay, carry on to the next thing. And like I said, I think that had an effect on my addiction.
Absolutely.
And so the way I dealt with that most of the time was to drink. And I think a lot of ER nurses, we worked hard and we played hard. And after our shift was done, we went out and we partied, and that's how I dealt with it. And I think also a lot of my coworkers.
Di, you make a good point in Podfather. You guys do get debriefings. I know I work with you and Jeff and a lot of different other first responders, and there's always a debriefing after a death or a bad car accident. And she does have a point, Podfather, that nurses do not get that. And I know you brought plenty of people into the ER, and you had to hand them over to them. And what's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it was nice, very nice hearing you, Diane. Nice to meet you. I was a street cop for 28 years, actually 35 years, but 28 in a cruiser, early nights, 4 to 12. Hundreds of times into the ER for a variety of issues, including myself. I had broken bones and stitches, and I've had some pretty tough times in the ER as a patient. But you're right. We do. I'm on a SISM team. I was on a SISM team. PTSD. Jeffrey Mitchell was a firefighter from Pittsburgh. He started back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. The PTSD debriefings and defusings. So you're right. But we have a nurse who used to run ours. Her name was Susan LaValle up in Massachusetts, Lowell, Massachusetts. She was an ER nurse who ran our PTSD team, And I just think it's interesting what you're saying, because I can relate to it so much, because you see stuff that people have no idea. No idea. You'd have to be there, right?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. And in these past couple of years, they are offering that for nurses now. And I think they realize that, how important it is. But I don't want to use that as, as to why I drank or used drugs. But I think that was a main factor. And the year before I went into treatment, I had 2 kids that died. One from meningitis, and then the other one was from the flu, actually. But I think like that last year, having those 2 deaths, and they were both under my care, that, I think that tipped me over, if you want to say that.
Well, Di, trauma is like filling a bucket of water. It keeps dripping in. And this is something very common I hear all the time amongst, especially first responders. And I throw you in that category of first responders. You're right there with Mike and all the other first responders, 100%. But there is always something that's going to spill that bucket over, and this might have been your spillover, know. And then I guess you kind of went into more drug use and more drinking. And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, also too, I want to mention that I had some childhood trauma. In my early teens, I had some trauma, which I also repressed. We didn't talk about stuff like that back in the day. It wasn't out so much in the open. And I'm referring to sexual trauma. And I found that also to be a common theme with a lot of my peeps in recovery, as you want, if you want to say. You can only stuff things down for so long. I also want to share. I did start using drugs and alcohol in my teens. Kind of ebbed and flowed when I became a nurse. I stopped for a while, and then I had a daughter, and I didn't drink or drug when I was raising her. But I did, during that time, I suffered from depression. And I mean serious depression, where I was hospitalized numerous times. I had shock treatments, was on heavy duty medications. and I think that had an effect on my daughter. So even though I wasn't drinking, I had a mental health issue. And I think they're also related.
100%.
Because when I look back on my life, which is one of the things you do when you're in recovery,
Yeah, you do.
the times that I wasn't using, I was depressed. So, you know, my whole life there was something going on. And that's what recovery is about, I think, is the discovery. It's a period of discovery. And it's kind of like I've heard it referred to as you can have a wound and you can slap a Band-Aid on it and nobody will know. You know, you have this nice Band-Aid, this dressing, and everything looks good. But under the surface of that, it's festering.
Absolutely.
You know, there's like, you know, decay going on, there's death going on. And, you know, pus, ugly stuff is going on under that nice, pretty white dressing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, that's what recovery is. You're taking that pretty Band-Aid off. Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's good. And you're getting to the source of that infection or that disease. And you're treating it finally.
Yeah, exactly. Di, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I want to talk about, you know, where you're at now, your journey into recovery and you know, Genesis. I talk a little bit about Genesis House and you know how you're doing today. And I know you're doing wonderful. So if it's not wonderful, you better make it wonderful because you are a wonderful person, Di. Thank you. We'll be right back, guys.
Hey, we'll be back. Friends in Recovery podcast.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Friends in Recovery podcast.com. I am the Podfather, Mike Miles, and I'm here with
Jersey Egg, guys.
And producer extraordinaire. Sweet, say a few words.
I prefer to be introduced. I prefer to...
I'm sorry.
Try it again.
Try it again. Let's start this whole show over.
I'm just playing. Yeah.
God.
Here he is.
No, he's not, but we'll let it go. So our guest today is Diane M. She is a first responder, a nurse. I do call first responders. She is part of that first responder world, and she's also part of our alumni at Genesis House. She's in recovery, and she's doing wonderful. Di, welcome back to the show. And I know we were talking a little bit about trauma and your nursing career and all that, and how it kind of brought you to where you're at. I want to know a little bit about like how you got into recovery, how you found Genesis House, and you know, if you want to say the R word, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. So it's up to you. And
the R word?
The R word, yes. Going up a ramp, down a ramp.
Oh, that word. Ooh, yeah, no. Okay, so I guess it was almost 4.5 years ago. I was working as an ER nurse, and I worked 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I was definitely using alcohol to unwind after my shift. I would drink until I could fall asleep. And I actually, one night, I took care of a woman who I went to high school with, who in high school I had always envied her. She was, popular, cheerleader, and she was an alcoholic and emaciated and very sick. And anyway, it was very shocking to see her. And when I got home and was drinking, and I realized that's me. That's me. I'm like her. And the next morning when I woke up, I just felt horrible, and I knew that I had a problem. And I called somebody, a dear friend who's been in recovery a long time, and I said, I need help. I think I'm an alcoholic. And she got me to a meeting. And what's funny about that meeting is she sent somebody to meet me there because she couldn't be there. And so this woman found me because, of course, I was in the corner crying. And she said, "You look familiar. Do I know you?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." And she goes, "You are our ER nurse." Wow. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, And she goes, "No, you helped me, and now I'm going to help you." And that was like my first AA meeting.
Wow.
But I had a few false starts. And so my sobriety date is November 11th, 2018. And
that's my son's birthday. That's a great day.
How about that? So at that point, I had started using painkillers. I had an issue with my foot, and I started taking Vicodin for that. And I liked the way it made me feel. It helped not only my physical pain, but my emotional pain. And anyway, long story short, I ended up going to Genesis House. And this was after an overdose, to tell you the truth. Ooh. And my friend, and it wasn't to commit suicide. It was just, I took too much.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who's also in recovery and also a nurse. And she said, if I didn't report myself, she would. And so that's how I ended up in Genesis House. It really wasn't voluntarily.
Yes. Yeah.
And I also reported myself to the Board of Nursing, which they use an organization called RAMP for short, Recovery and Monitoring Program of New Jersey. So
which by the way, Di, is a wonderful program. I know everybody kind of gets down on them but I hear on meeting after meeting after meeting, I'm grateful for RAMP. I'm grateful for RAMP because it keeps people in place. It keeps people, the nurses. It keeps you guys coming, and some people need that structure. And I know we joke around about it, but it is a really, really good program. And listen, they connected you with us. We wouldn't have been, we would have been friends. So and wouldn't have this great recovery that So anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, I ended up down in Florida at Genesis House, and with the feeling of, how did I end up here? Like what happened? Bewildered, and just people that have gone to rehab know that feeling. Just so I had a great therapist, and
Natasha, right?
Yeah. And it's what I liked about Genesis House was that it was the people genuinely cared. All the techs there, the therapists, from the top down, it wasn't about the money. You could tell that they genuinely cared. The people that have been there, have been employed there, have been there for a long time. So that tells you something too. And even just in talking to them, they're happy to be there.
Go ahead. You're doing good. You're doing good. No,
I was there for 5 weeks.
Okay.
And it taught me some good habits. Where I learned how to journal in the morning, describe how I was feeling, how I'm feeling, and set a goal for myself for the day.
Yeah.
and to list things that I'm grateful for. And I still continue that habit today.
Good.
I'll write down how I'm feeling and, to journal, which was something I never liked doing before, but it does help.
Big time.
And
Yeah, it does.
what I also liked about Genesis House is that I could get a massage once a week.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention earlier, I'm a massage therapist too.
Yeah. A wonderful massage therapist too.
Yeah, been practicing 16 years now.
Wow.
And I also like the yoga there because for me, like I'm all about body, mind, spirit, and that maybe I can't intellectually describe how I'm feeling or realize how I'm feeling, but through the power of touch or, movement, that's how I get grounded and how I can.
Yeah.
And one of the things as a massage therapist is we joke and say your issues are in your tissues. And sometimes by, massaging a certain part, it stirs an emotion up for a person or, people hold their stress or their trauma, their feelings like in a certain area.
Yeah.
And that through massage that can help
well,
that.
Di, let me ask you this. Well, thank you for the great accolades about Genesis House. I mean, we're here to talk about, and thank you so much. But anyways, you're very successful in your nursing career. You obviously had a 16-year career with massage therapy. Did you ever think that you would want to go maybe into the first responders massage? Because what she's just saying, Podfather, just kind of clicked something like, your issues are in your tissues, and you guys hold so much in. The first responders hold so much in that it might be a good kind of career move or a good niche that you can come up with, and not on top of the niche is you're helping people out, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Well,
what Diane's saying, I'm relating to everything she's saying, but I'm a clinical social worker, and I work with a lot of people in the medical field. They up here in Massachusetts, they, when they have a problem, they have to go see a therapist as well. So, I have clients that have to use a breathalyzer several times a day. I have, and they're professionals, and they're recovering, and that has helped them. I believe those programs were designed to give everyone a second chance. In my profession, in '86, when I went and got help, I had to divulge why I was getting help, and they wanted to fire me. I had done nothing illegal other than taking an illegal substance, but I didn't get caught doing it. It was my own, my own confession and getting help. But my point is, it's good to have these programs because they give you sometimes a second chance, a first chance and a second chance. But the bottom line is, if with somebody pushing you and watching you and monitoring you, because we're sneaky, our disease is sneaky, and it makes us sneaky. And I just feel that it's really good to have somebody like a big brother over your shoulder, because it does yield results and good results.
Yeah. Di, real quick, we're running out of time here, but any words of wisdom from the nursing standpoint of view? And again, I consider nurses a first responder, right up there with the police and everybody else. And recovery point, sum up your whole career in 30 seconds if you can.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, well, as you know, I retired from nursing, and I'm strictly doing massage now. And the reason, I don't know, I think follow your heart, do what makes you happy, and be authentic. Like, that's what I've learned throughout this whole thing, is that I need to speak my truth, and I need to do what makes me happy, and I need to be authentic. And since I've been doing that, life has never been better.
Great,
Wonderful.
good.
Like, I guess I can't really sum it up for nurses, but I just know that by being authentic and doing what makes me happy, and being sober,
Yes, that is it.
Not trying to cover up my feelings with a substance. Is
that's the way to do it.
You've been a great guest, Diane. I got to say, you've given a lot of insight to emergency room nursing, and it just brought back so many memories. I've known so many nurses that have had substance abuse issues, but they're lifesavers, and they're wonderful people. And I think those type of jobs definitely lead us down a road sometimes that we take the wrong turn, but we get back on. And I just want to mention the picture over your left shoulder. I love it. I don't know where that is, where you got it or whatever, but that's a great photo. That looks
beautiful.
It's in
there you go.
Atlantic County. It's just a little marsh
Beautiful.
area,
Right.
cleaned by somebody that I know.
Right. I have a pond near my house where there are swans, and they come yearly. They mate for life. I know a lot about swans, and my oldest daughter drives by that, and she'll say, the swans are doing this or the swans are doing that. So we've been watching them for a while.
Well, Diane, a nurse, a first responder, alumni of Genesis House, great recovery, wonderful human being. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thanks, Ed.
You know, you are
really
a dear.
helped me.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. You know, I called Ed this morning because I really didn't want to do this.
Right.
And
You did a great job.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
thanks.
this is a wonderful show.
Yeah.
Ed he
listen,
gets the
one
best
more
guest.
thing real quick is
Sure.
like, let's have fun, you know,
Yeah.
happy, joyous, and free. And that's
Amen.
what you're teaching me,
Amen.
Ed. Like, come
Thanks,
on.
Di.
you know?
Thanks, Di. Diane, thank you very much, and I'll definitely be seeing you around in the Friends of Recovery meeting, and maybe you'll be on our whatever, you'll be back as a guest. So.
Diane, thank you so much. You have
Thanks,
$1 million
Di.
You're
smile.
Yes, she
keep
does.
smiling.
Yeah,
You have a
All
smile
right,
that
thank
brightens
you.
it up.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Di. So, guys, I get emotional when I see somebody with their recovery like that. It just and I've seen her grow since she came on the meetings in March, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And that's, I get very I'm weird, I know, but I think I got really emotional too because I didn't say the F word throughout the whole.
No, you said
show
it. You
too.
said it a few times.
Did I? No,
I actually don't know.
no, I did not.
I'm
Listen,
going to have to play it back.
everybody, go listen back. Listen to the show again and see if I did it. If I didn't, but
I'll sneak one in there.
There you go.
A pre-recorded one. I'll
There
drop
you
it
go.
in.
With some
Good,
trumpets.
yeah,
With
yeah.
some trumpets.
you have plenty of drops that I
do.
should drop the F bomb.
Yeah, there's lots I can go back and
Yeah,
get.
but no, Diane has good recovery, first responder, the whole 9 yards. So
Well, you know what's nice too is like when these people, when you do get some remarkable guests, but her talking about Genesis from A to Z, soup to nuts. I love what she was saying because this is what we hear all the time, and it's just so important when you're sacrificing, a month of your life or more or less or whatever time to go get help. You want professionals. You don't want to just go place and sit and hope you get better.
Yeah.
We've had such success with Genesis House, and it was so nice hearing her because
Yeah.
we both know who we've sent to Genesis House, and
that's why we do this alumni series, the giving back. It's we want to hear that stuff because Mike, as you and I know, I usually don't hear these success stories. I hear them when they're crazy, when they're doing crazy stuff and not. I was gonna say the S word, but I didn't.
Right.
But when they're doing crazy things, and I don't get to see a Diane M. In 4 years later, 3 years, whatever it is. I don't get to see that. I get to see Diane M. when she's not in her right mind, not the person who she is, and I'm just using her as an example.
Right.
Hundreds of people that we work with, but I love this. I love this alumni giving back series. So.
And I have an alumnus from Genesis who's only been out a short time, and I told him when he has 90 days, he'd love to come on the show.
Absolutely, we love to have him. So.
Excuse me, it's Tom E. That
Yeah.
went down there and
yeah.
didn't want to stay.
Yeah.
But he's so grateful he stayed.
Good for him. Good.
That's why we do this, right?
Exactly why we do it, Sweets. Yeah, absolutely. We do it. You think you do it because it's a job. It's not a job. It really isn't. It's very
There's
rewarding.
lots of jobs you can get.
Of course,
you know what I
there is.
mean?
Of course
This
there
is a calling.
Yeah, it is.
And it is exactly these things that remind us why we do what we do, and that when it's so hard, and when you're trying to navigate the the insurance system, or you're trying to make sure that people get where they need to go, that you remember there's people who are going to benefit from this, and it's worth all the work that you're putting in.
Absolutely.
And I love to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
Right. It's what I do every day.
absolutely.
I run a step meeting every Tuesday night for the last 2 years, and I help people. But guess what? Guess who I'm really helping? Mike Miles. That's who I'm really.
Oh
helping.
yeah.
The Podfather.
Because the
Podfather.
Podfather.
Who's Mike Miles?
That's
I don't
right.
know Mike Miles.
And if I don't have my cape on with the
That's right.
F, with the PF on it, they don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
God.
But the bottom line is, I know what I get out of the 12 Steps of Recovery and the teachings of AA, and being around people that speak the program.
Yeah. Just living life sober,
Right.
like-minded people. We're around like-minded people all the time.
I had Jersey Ed with me the other night, and in one of my groups there was 10 or 12 people, and Ed came and he shared.
Couldn't get rid of him, huh?
No,
No,
you
he
kidding
can't
me?
shake me.
Jesus,
He
you
can't
know?
shake me.
Like gum.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hang on to his leg as he's walking out.
No, let me come in with you. Let me come in.
But I got a lot of response afterwards. They really enjoyed him because, you know, you bring different people from different parts of the country, not that far away, Jersey, but, you know, and talk program if somebody's from California or New Jersey. And, you know, it's all the same program, but the different accents and the just the different inputs. So it was good. It was good having you the other night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, another good, successful show.
Wonderful
Thank
show.
you so much, everybody. Diane, thank you.
Yep.
We appreciate it. And Podfather, you got any want to take us out?
I just want to say what another great guest you brought on, and she has $1 million smile.
She does.
And I'll tell you, she smiled twice, and that was it. I'm like, this is great.
She is. She's a great guest.
Yep.
So, Podfather, go ahead.
friendsandrecoverypodcast.com, and thanks a lot. Good having you back, Jersey Ed.
Thanks, Podfather. Stay sober, everybody.
That concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House for supporting those on the path to recovery and for keeping this valuable resource free for our Friends in Recovery community. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. If you can't get enough of Mike the Podfather and Jersey Ed, you can catch them on Answering the Call, the First Responder Podcast, available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube.